What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new week of Open Letters to a Survivor. I do want to say this is episode 13. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lady Poet.
It's actually number 14, but
Okay, so I'm always behind the numbers. So episode 14. Everybody, congratulate themselves. Um, Welcome to a new episode of Open Letters to a Survivor. I am your engineer, James. So I am just here for the moment, just kind of an introduction. Want to introduce these beautiful ladies. We got Lady Poet. We also have Cassandra Williams, and we got Kay Love. They are here to continue the healing process. This whole journey has been something really, really, really amazing. These ladies are hitting outstanding numbers. They are in the hundreds, and they just are looking really, really good. Definitely many followers, many likes, many shares, and people are really loving what you ladies are bringing to the table. So we want to welcome everybody to the show. Um, it's not really a whole lot to say today. I think everybody pretty much knows the gist of what they are getting here. This is an amazing experience. I think that anybody can really benefit from this, even myself. Some of these conversations have been going really good, but I know tonight is really a kicker of the show. K Love has some stuff that she's going to talk to us about tonight, and we are getting ready to learn the ins and outs of this beautiful woman. So I am going to give the floor to Lady Poet, and I'm going to pop out of here, ladies. You know you can get me. I'm here, and just shout at me, and I'll be looking at them comments and everything. But thank you, everybody. Make sure that you like, subscribe, follow, and comment. Any questions or anything, just type them in the comments, and we will get those up. So go ahead, Lady Poet.
okay, thank you. So we are continuing with our grief series that we have for the month of June. I'm sorry, our series on abuse for the month of June. The grief series is coming soon, so stay tuned for that. But before we get started today, we do want to add a trigger warning to all of these shows for this month. If you're someone you know is struggling with mental health, please call or text 988, the National Prevention Hotline. If you are in the Cleveland area, call or text the Cleveland Rape Crisis Center at 216-619-6192 or nationwide at 800-656-HOPE, and that's for RAIN. Before we meet today's guest, we will go to the letter and then I will do the statistics.
All right. Good evening, everyone. So here's our letter for today. Dear Survivor, what is a survivor? According to the website dictionary.com, a survivor is a person who continues to function or prosper in spite of opposition, hardship, or setbacks. In spite of opposition, hardship, or setbacks. You are not the opposition, you are not the hardship, nor are you the setback. To quote Pastor Sarah Jakes Roberts, you are purpose. You are here in this moment for the divine reason of speaking out for yourself about your life, your experiences, and your growth. You may not feel like you've grown, but to begin moving or to have moved away from a situation devoid of real love, security, and devotion is growth. To be in a situation where emotional, physical, financial, spiritual, and or psychological abuse were the head of your relationship, and to finally decide that enough is enough and it's over for you, that's strength, that's faith, that's you loving yourself. That's you giving life back to your voice. That's you permitting yourself to get support. That's you standing firm on the purpose within you. Stepping away from the craziness, the dysfunction, the guilt, the pain, and the heartache. Standing on and within the purpose that is ultimately you. It's you finally coming back to being yourself. And that, my friend, is growth. You are a survivor. And now is your time to be and stand firm in your purpose. Sincerely, Lady Poet Speaks, today's guest and co host, K Love, and the entire team of Open Letters to a Survivor, and me, Cassandra Williams.
Thank you so much. Your letters always are always so touching, and they go right with what we're speaking on. So I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Before I introduce my guest today, I do want to give some statistics from IWPR.org. It's known that 4 in 10 women experience physical violence. Black women experience higher rates of psychological abuse, and sexual violence affects women, Black women, at a higher rate. I just gave those statistics so we can dive into the story of one of the people in my life who has been a rock. We met back in 2017, and we have been, I don't even call her a friend. I actually call her sister because that's like my sister. You know, when I need the advice, when I need that spiritual connection, when I need somebody to pray for me, when I have these crazy ideas, she's the one that I called. When I came to her about this podcast and said, listen, I'm not taking no for an answer. You got to be my co host. She just said, okay, what do you need me to do? And that's just the type of relationship we have. So, she's part of the reason why we're doing this series as well as this show, because we want people to know that our listeners that we've had past too, and we've had to overcome a lot of things, which is the reason why we're here to speak to everyone, to let them know if we survived, you can too. So I just want everyone here, if you're in the comments, if you're on the team right now, to just give her some encouragement as she brings forth her story today, and just love on her like I do all the time and like I just did before the show started. K Love, I am here, and thank you so much for being our guest today and being transparent enough to tell your story. You got this. I love you. You know I love you. If nobody else tell you, I love you. And you got this. So thank you just for taking that moment to step out on faith and just to tell your story today.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for considering me. Thank you for giving me an opportunity and a platform to share my story. Um, do you want me to dive into the story? You want to give me some questions first, or
So we'll start like we always do. Just tell us about you and a little and your story.
okay? Well, born and raised here in Cleveland, here in the city of East Cleveland, to be exact. When East Cleveland was beautiful, now y'all hold them jokes. We still had the others living on the street, but I was blessed to be in a family dynamic where I had my mother and my father and two older brothers. I was the baby and the only girl. I say this all the time because it's kind of profound, but my mother said I invited myself. She did not know that she was pregnant with me. She had Rh negative blood through her pregnancies, so she wasn't expected to have any more children. So when they found out that she was pregnant with me, they really didn't think that I was going to survive. Hence the word survivor. They had the incubator ready to give me a blood transfusion. They put my mother on bed rest, and they constantly checked her throughout the rest of her pregnancy. And so God said, I got plans for this one. So I came without a hitch, no problems, a healthy little 6-pound baby. And I ended up being titled the Blessed Child. Who knew that that was going to bring me some level of turmoil? As I grew, at the age of probably about 4 or 5, up till about 6 or 7. The age is a little fuzzy, but it was definitely in that era. I was being molested by my next door neighbor, who at the time was a teenage boy. And his whole family was like our second family. And so it wasn't until, because I was a very inquisitive child, that I started to ask questions about what was being done to me. And we're talking not just fondling, but also penetration. And I had asked my mother a question about what was being done to me, and it startled her because she couldn't understand what I was talking about, and why would I know anything about what I was asking. And when I started to be more detailed about the questions and the concerns, that's when she fully understood that our neighbor's grandson was touching me. And so moving forward, Black families, Black communities, churches, they didn't deal with that. They said that's something that you keep in your family. We don't go to the police. We don't go to the doctor unless, if it was brutal, then maybe. But if I'm able to get up and walk away and talk about it or whatever, then they said, okay, well, we're just not going to let him be around her anymore. We're just going to sweep this under the rug, and we just going to pray about it, and everything is going to be all right. Well, yeah, nah. Not addressing it, not to say that the prayers didn't keep me, because they did. However, some damage was done that I just wasn't aware of. And then my parents' way of taking care of me and handling the situation was just keeping me sheltered. Not a lot of going and comings and doing a whole lot of things away from home or away from them. So it didn't put me in a position where I understood what happened to me to be wrong. And it didn't put me in a position to understand and know what was happening to my body or my mind or my thoughts, my feelings, so a lot of stuff was just kept bottled inside because no one wanted to talk about it. If we just keep her safe for right now, then it's okay. Everybody will be okay. So as I got older, I was a good girl. My mama kept me busy in church. I played sports. I got good grades, and that was my life. Go to church, come home, go to school. And then when I got older, I got me a little babysitting job, and then started working at McDonald's, and then that's when I started noticing boys and all of that. So my mom and dad wasn't having that. They was cutting it as much as they could, instead of being able to sit down and talk to me and tell me what was wrong with what happened to me, and allowing me to get counseling or any type of help that was available at that time. Because we're talking mid-70s. So coming into my adult life, I didn't have a clue about anything. I thought the world was a beautiful place and that everybody loved everybody. And I was just skipping through the tulips, passing out hugs and kisses and thinking that people were going to reciprocate with love towards me. And by that time, my biological father had passed away. And then my mom remarried, and my stepdad was great. He was almost exactly an exact replica of my dad. And he followed the same protocol. Just keep her in a box. We ain't got to talk about it. We ain't got to deal with it. And so I was very naive. And that put me in a position to where it was easy for me to be kind of steered in the wrong direction, being with the wrong crowd, and Being shy and quiet was my thing. And I would sit back and just watch people, but I was afraid to speak out. I was afraid to speak up for myself. So I got bullied even as an adult. And people would just make jokes, oh, the little quiet one over there in the corner or whatever. And then getting into relationships with men who just saw me as a piece of meat. And so therefore I got into relationships where I was sexually abused, physically abused, verbally abused. I got raped at one time and became pregnant. And then from that pregnancy, first of all, no one believed that I was pregnant because I was so small. But then as time progressed, not knowing what to do with this pregnancy, I ended up losing the baby at 6 months. So I had to give birth to a stillborn. And of course, the person who raped me was nowhere around. So that was something I had to deal with by myself. And then being in other toxic relationships, just because you are in a relationship with someone doesn't mean that they have the right to use and abuse your body. But I did have a few male friends, a few male boyfriends, if you will, who thought that whenever they chose to have sex, that it was what they wanted and I had to give it up. And I'm like, yeah, no. And so in my relationships, I was raped. In my relationships, I was physically abused. And definitely emotionally and verbally, abused. And you don't realize in the midst of it, why are you taking this? So what? You love him, they love you if they do. You should not have to deal with this. And so I just said, I'm going to stick with it, try to make this relationship work. Yeah. And because that's what I saw. You get in a relationship, you stay with that person and you deal with that person, all their flaws, and, you don't leave. You figure out a way to work it out. And so here I'm young and dumb and I'm staying with somebody who's abusing me because I didn't know that I could literally walk away and do better and get better. And my third adult rape took me to a ugly place. I was no longer Kim. I had turned into somebody who was angry and bitter. And I had started acting out like the people who were abusing. Thank you. So I started, being promiscuous, at least for about a year. I felt like I was in control by just, if you want this body, well, guess what? It's going to be under my rules, So I'm out here hurting men because I wanted to get them before they got me. And it wasn't until I came across a gentleman who said to me that he really liked me and he really cared for me. And he couldn't understand, why I would just mistreat him so poorly. And it really hurt him. And that's when I woke up and I said, I turned into the people who had hurt me. And I didn't want to be that person anymore. So I had given my life back to Christ. I had left the church. I saw a lot of things in the church that made me turn away from it. And it was just the trick of the enemy. And so I'm out here young and dumb and doing stupid stuff, following the crowd and getting mixed up. But if it wasn't for a praying mother, and if it wasn't for the upbringing that I had that held me and kept me and covered and protected me, I could have went way, way left and been way worse. But it was just enough for me to see that I needed healing. I needed to understand what the abuse had done to me. And how was I going to get past this? How was I going to heal? And that took a minute because I didn't know what healing was. My coping mechanisms was to go to work and to go to work and to go to work. So somewhere making some money, and it wasn't even a whole lot of money, but it was just taking up my time. So I was a good worker. I just was a broke good worker because I wasn't working in jobs to my potential because I didn't know what my potential was. I was never focused on me. I was never focused on the beauty in me. I was too busy taking care of everybody else's wants and needs and desires, not realizing that they didn't care about me. And this spread out of just romantic relationships, but this was in friendships and workplace and family, to where people were just, taking advantage of my kindness and looking at me to be a weak person, when all I was really doing was sharing the love. I'm a 70s baby, and my thing was love this, love, love, love. And all I really wanted was that back. And I didn't realize that I wasn't really getting what I was giving. And so I got to a place after so many years had passed, and I had had a couple of miscarriages, wanting to be a mother and never, ever really having children. And then getting to a point where I couldn't have children anymore. Being close to getting married a few times, but turned out that they just weren't the right one for me. So here I am alone and wanting to be loved and having, a happy, healthy relationship. But I didn't know that I needed to start with me because I didn't know that I hadn't healed. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what to do to even make that happen. And the sad part is, this is the conundrum. I was in school to be a psychologist. I wanted to help other people with their issues, not really realizing how jacked up I was. So I said, well, wait a minute. I never finished. Why did I not finish? Because I was too busy taking care of everybody. And taking care of everybody and taking care of people, I'm not saying that in a bad way, because I loved on my family. When they needed me most, I was there. And I took care of those who needed taken care of. But when you are busy taking care of everybody who is abusing you and you're not taking care of yourself, then that's defeating the purpose. And the only one that's really getting hurt is yourself. And once I opened my eyes to that, and it took a long time because I'm stubborn and I'm hard-headed, and I kept repeating the same mistakes, the same habits over and over and over again. And as we talk about spiritual things, the familiar spirits kept following me. So that way I ended up dating the same type of guy over and over and over again, never getting clear of what it was that I was attracting that wasn't good for me. So here I am now, learning to accept the mistakes that I've made, accept responsibility for the actions that I did or didn't do, and now taking time to heal. So in healing, I had to first forgive myself. And I started journaling. Now, when I was younger, I was doing a diary. We called it diaries back then. I grew up in the Judy Blume era when we read her book. And I started writing out my diary Right. You go and get that notebook, or you go get the ones that they sold at the store with the little key, thinking you keeping secrets from your mama and daddy and all of that. No. Mama came and cleaned my room and found my stuff up under my mattress. There wasn't no secrets in the house. But I wrote as a child, and I was just writing my feelings out, not realizing that I was so bottled up inside. And I would write stories, and they were mean and nasty and brutal stories. I was emulating what I had experienced as a child, and I was putting it on paper, but I didn't know, the healthiness of that. But I still wasn't getting healed because no one was understanding the inner pain that I had, and not even myself. So I wrote stuff about suicide. When I would get frustrated or angry, I would tear up stuff, my own stuff. I would take some scissors to a pillow or cut up my dolls. I had all kinds of dolls to do hair because my mother did hair on the side. So I had a whole bunch of dolls whose hair I could do. And then I got to cutting their hair off. And she'd be like, "Why is your doll bald-headed?" She needed her hair cut. Not admitting that I did it because I was angry about something. Because if I did, then that meant I was going to get a whooping. So, and then stuff like that, tearing up stuff and then hiding it or throwing it away so that I wouldn't get in trouble because I knew it was wrong. But at that moment, that rage in me, I just had to get it out. And as I got older, I continued to do that. But I turned it into cleaning. Mama made sure that we cleaned the house top to bottom real good. So for me, if I was having a stressful time or a moment where I needed to get my aggressions out or I needed to think, instead of tearing up stuff, I would clean stuff. So I became OCD, if you will. And that was my way of coping therapeutically. I'm cleaning stuff, just out of control cleaning, taking everything out the closet, off the walls and washing everything and then trying to figure out how to put it back in there. Now that built me some skills to where I started a company. But at the same token, it was just a way for me to express my feelings and get things out. And then as I got even older and I started to see, I need some help. I went through a traumatic relationship, and this was the last straw. This was the last straw because it almost took me out. And you get to a point where you accept things as your norm when you really know in the back of your mind, this isn't good for you. But because it's here and because they're showing you some attention and giving you some time, and they say they love you, you just like, okay, that's enough. I'll take it. Knowing it's not enough because you deserve better than that. So this last relationship, it just took me over the hill, over the top. And I said, that's it. I decided I'm no longer going to allow myself to be mistreated. I'm no longer going to allow myself to be used and abused. I am no longer going to stop loving me and thinking that somebody loves me the way I need to be loved, and they're not. So I made up in my mind. I said, I went back to journaling, started focusing on self-development, reading self-development books, always and forever praying and reading the Bible and trusting in God that he has something better for me and that he will heal me from my situations and circumstances from my past, because I'm not my past. That's over with. And so it's a mindset. You got to make up in your mind, that you are better than that. You deserve better than that. And then you need to listen to that and then live by that. And that was a choice that I finally made. And so now I believe in counseling. I'm back in school to be a counselor because now I got stripes. I earned my stripes.
And that was actually going to take me to that next question for you. And that was, what steps are you taking to heal and to start healing? And I know that you are back in school and you're actually working in the field that God has ordained you for. So that is actually amazing. So tell us, what steps are you taking besides that for healing? And yes, James, I love counseling too. That's my one time where I could just go off and not be judged.
Exactly. Exactly. There are actually a couple of counselors that I am actually going to get with. I had a advocate for a while from the previous abusive relationship that I was in, and she preempted me to do some regular counseling because I had started to develop some anxiety, and I didn't realize it. I keep pushing, I keep moving forward, I keep doing what I got to do to take care of me, but I didn't realize that I had developed some issues because of the abuse, and they become triggers, and so for that I said, yeah, we gonna get on somebody's couch and we gonna figure this out, because some of these triggers I never had. Some of these anxieties I didn't have before, but they probably were festering, and then this last relationship just brought it out. So when you don't address stuff as you should, it will find its ugly head. It will rear its ugly head at some point. And you hope to not be in a place where you become the abuser because you never addressed it. And then you start to respond and react to people the way people treated you. And so I decided, nah, that's not who God created me to be. I'm the love child. I just want to love everybody.
Right. and and so I know you briefly touched on that, but how has the abuse shaped your life now? Like, I know that for me, I developed post-traumatic stress disorder. And that is something that I'm working diligently on now to keep under control. So I know that it has shaped all of us in different ways.
Yeah.
So just expound on how it has shaped your life in those ways. Then I'll go to Cassandra if she wants to add anything, and then her part of the interview for you.
Okay. Well, I would say how it shaped me initially was I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know, other than how to make other people feel good, I didn't know how to make myself feel good. So once I came to grips with that, then I said, okay, you got to be okay with telling people no. You can't feel guilty because you can't do everything for everybody. That's not your job. It's not your responsibility. So I had to start talking to myself like a big sister, telling myself, no, it's okay. Don't worry about that. Take care of you. You are your number one stunner. Take care of you. So I started to pay attention to stuff that I used to ignore. So when you hear people say, well, you're not paying attention to the flags. Oh yeah, now I am. And when you say or do certain things, when you're showing me who you really are, I have to accept it. And then I have to understand that it's not my responsibility to change that.
Right.
All I can do is bail out gracefully.
Yep. Yes.
So I also I went back to journaling, finishing some self-development, and then getting a regular counselor. because we all need that.
Yes,
Some
we do.
people may say that, I don't need to talk to nobody. I don't need to go to no counselor, no psychologist or what. Psychology is nothing ugly. It's just talking about how the mind works.
Mhm.
And once you understand how your mind works, then you know what you need and don't need. And sometimes you need a moment to just talk to somebody who you're not close to.
Mhm.
Talking to family and friends always doesn't get you what you need. You need a perspective from someone who hasn't grown up with you or raised you or lived with you or worked with you. Someone who don't really know you, but they have the ability to listen to you and help you and guide you in how you think and feel about yourself. And I'm a big advocate for counseling. Even some of the healthiest people need a moment on the couch.
Amen. And I will be closing the series talking about that. We do have a therapist coming on and the church's response to abuse. That'll be ending our series for next week. So I'm glad that you did bring that up.
Yeah.
Cassandra, I know that you're ready, but if you have any feedback or anything you would like to say, the floor is yours.
First and foremost, Kim, just thank you for sharing your story because it's, as was on the screen, it's relatable. There are themes that weave throughout our lives, no matter what. One of the things I heard was hurt people,
Yeah.
right? And so, like you said, you kind of take in that persona, I'm going to get you before you get me. And that's the real thing. It's protective, it's protective.
Yeah.
And
Oh, we
so,
got.
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Somebody asked a question. You can answer this, Cassandra. You too, K Love. Someone asked, "What is the first step you will take to start setting boundaries?" And again, we're not therapists, but we do just give what I started with me. I'll go first in setting boundaries. Is the ability of setting things for myself. If my goal, and I had to start with little goals, because with PTSD, I became like K Love, where it was, well, I got to do this for this person. But telling me, okay, if I could tell one person no, that's how I started setting boundaries. And it could have been something little. Somebody said, hey, you want to go out for ice cream and you don't feel like going? No. And once you start doing those things and putting those little boundaries in place, and realize that you got to love yourself more than you love anybody else, because that's the hardest thing, speaking from where K Love has come from. When you faced abuse, so you've been through those type of things, loving yourself is the last thing on your mind because you're so conditioned to love everybody else. So I started telling myself in the mirror my affirmations: I'm capable, I'm worthy, I am enough. And once I started telling them, my boundaries started coming up. My boundaries, me being able to tell somebody no, me being able to speak those things, had become easier. Why? Because me speaking life into myself started helping me to tell everybody no, you can't cross this line with me.
Right.
And once you cross that line, either I gotta go or you gotta go, but it ain't gonna happen no more.
Exactly.
And I think as well, like you said, with the whole no thing, no is a complete sentence. So that whole, for me, it might be no, and then this whole paragraph explanation behind why I'm saying no. None of your business. If I
No.
said no, then the answer is no. And that's it. It's a whole sentence.
Right.
And then also being able to establish and not be afraid of speaking up for yourself to tell people what your limit is. And I know for me that was a thing. Um, like thinking that people can pick it up based on what you're saying and what you're not saying, and that they can read enough between the lines. No, let me just tell you where I stand. Now, either it works for you or it doesn't, but the boundary isn't for you; it's for me.
Exactly.
And that was the thing that I had to learn. I always felt like boundaries were put in place for other people to respect. It's there for you, because if you don't respect it, you don't have any. So
Exactly.
you have to know what it is that you need, what it is that you want, and then stand on that.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. But like I said, no is a whole sentence.
Yep.
Amen. And Caleb, if you want to expound on that.
Well, absolutely. It definitely is a whole sentence. And not only that, it needs no explanation. Once I say no, what else is there to talk about? You know? Because I don't know any other way to explain it. I can't. In any language, no is no. So
And you know what's so funny about it is that we outgrow it. Because when you think about it, when you're 2 and 3, you know that no is a whole. You might like it, you might not, but you know it. And when a 2-year-old tells you no,
yep,
when a 3-year-old tells you no, they mean it
that's
10
it.
toes down. They ain't playing with you. You know,
They will fall out and have a temper tantrum about that no.
Right.
Okay. Now imagine a grown person doing that. I done told you no. Ah! You know, I gotta act the fool just for you to understand that I said no,
Right.
or for you to receive it and respect it. You
Right.
know, and that's just where I am now. I'm not stressing over you not having the capacity to understand when I tell you no.
Right.
I'm just gonna say it, and I'm not gonna keep saying it. It's just no. Because I have to be in a place where I'm mentally, emotionally at peace.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes from me. You can't give me my peace. Nobody can give me my peace but me. So if it's me that has to give me my peace, why am I going to let you come along and take it?
Exactly.
That
Yep.
don't make sense. You know, so once I've developed that self-love, that self-confidence, that self-understanding, that self-forgiveness, you know, and develop my boundaries. And it's different per relationship, per person, you know, depending on the relationship. And you have to figure that out. You have to understand who's in your corner, who is not. Put them in their proper box, you know, and leave them there, because it's okay. Everybody ain't for you. Everybody ain't gonna be for you, but they want to be around you. Okay, well, I'm gonna put you in this box right here.
Right.
Okay, and I'll pull you out when I feel like being bothered. You know, I mean, you have to do what you have to do to
Right.
heal thyself and stay healthy. Your health is your responsibility. Can't nobody else get you healthy but you.
Right.
And it starts with your mindset. And so now that's where I'm at in my life. Half my life is gone. I can't worry about that no more. That's over with. I'm in the present, and I'm concerned about my future, you know.
Right.
And if you can't roll with me, then baby, you got to get off the ride. That don't mean I don't love you. That don't mean we not cool, you know, because we can be cool, but I ain't got to be around you every day, all day.
Right.
So I have to understand who I am and what I need and what I don't need to stay healthy for me. And so my peace is my responsibility. And if I feel as though something or someone is trying to interfere with what I've worked so hard for and for what I've been through so much for to achieve, then I got to cut you. I got to curve our interaction.
Right.
And I'll still love on you, just at a distance. That's all. Just at a distance.
Well, thank you.
So,
Thank you, because you really put it into context for a lot of people who just keep going because they feel like, oh, I knew this person my whole life, so I'm stuck. And so, but yeah, I'll turn the floor back over to you guys. I'm sorry, but yeah.
what? No,
But I
that's
want to
the point.
expound on what you said as well, is that we owe ourselves the best version of us. We don't owe it to nobody else. You owe
Right.
yourself the best version of you. So you got to walk in it. And no matter what your deliverance might look like, you only know when you at the finish line. You only know when you're over something. And a lot of times in our healing process, we feel like we over a few things. And that actually leads into the next part of where Cassandra is going to go. But we feel like we over a few things, and then we get into those moods where it triggers us again.
Yeah.
So I was actually, and I shared a video early today talking about glory triggers. It's a message from Pastor Sarah Jakes Roberts where she talked about sometimes you got to go back, but you can only go back when you're free. And if
Right.
you go back to those areas when you're not free, that same pain is going to take you right back. So I just want to, that could have actually been an encouraging word, but I just want to tell everybody, don't go back until you
No.
get free, and don't stop in the middle of the process, because healing is one of the most beautiful, but it's one of the most painful journeys you will ever go through.
Yes.
And I tell everybody, when you want to take even baby steps is movement, and I say that all the time. So you will hear me say that on the show a lot, but even baby steps is moving. So when you feel like even walking slow, guess what? You fall down, but like a baby, you get back up and you try again. And so in that healing process, those boundaries will come when you start healing, honestly.
Yeah.
So
That's the truth. And that baby step, sometimes you crawling,
I'm trying to tell you.
but that's okay. As long as you keep moving and you keep
Yep.
going forward and you keep pressing on, you'll land on your feet eventually. Trust the process. It may be ugly, it may be painful, but that purge is necessary.
Right.
It's absolutely necessary so that you can peel away all of that dead skin. Get rid of all of that negativity that once lived in here and in here. Once you release all of that, once you find the tool that works for you to get all of that off of you, whether it's journaling, whether it's running, exercising, writing, screaming, dancing, whatever it is, once you figure out what it takes for you to get free of those shackles, of the pain from your past, and the issues that shaped you but didn't break you, then that's when you're on the path of freedom, and you're gonna get free and you're gonna get healed, and that's the ultimate goal. Get healed, and know that you are not alone. You do not have to take this journey by yourself. There may be moments when you really have to handle some stuff on your own, because you got to look in the mirror and deal with you. Can't nobody do that for you but you.
Right.
But once you realize now, okay, I need to lay my head on somebody's shoulder. I need to cry. I need someone to hug me, hold my hand, kiss me on my forehead and tell me everything's going to be all right. Then, that's when you share with those who you trust and who are in your corner to help you while you go through your healing process. And then, part of healing is also sharing. You got to testify. You got to tell people so that you can, not only you can see, but others can see. You started here and you made your way over here. So you've made movement, you've made progress, and you're getting better and you're doing better. And that's all it is. You're doing it for yourself first, but then you're going to help pull somebody else up once you get stronger.
Right. And that leads us, actually, when you say you're not alone, that actually leads us to the pledge. So
I was just going to say that's a good segue. Absolutely. With being healed and going through that entire process and finding that support, that safe space. And so as you're here on this podcast, and for those who are watching, this is a safe space and a platform for you. And so I'm going to read off the pledge of the Open Letters to a Survivor podcast. Today, we pledge that we will not let survivors fight alone, that upon disclosing abuse, We will not only stand in the gap in prayer, but assist in resources. We will believe and guide them through the trauma and let them know that they are not alone. Today, we stand up for every survivor whose voice shakes while telling their story. For survivors who choose to heal loudly because they had to be quiet for so long. When families and the justice system fails them, we will still uplift them and help them find their worth. We pledge today to continue our work and fight for survivors. And so, K Love, with that, my follow up question to you is why is this pledge for the series important to you?
It's important to me because it's a call of action to our community. Um, there was a time when our community worked together. We did everything amongst each other, and we did it out of love. We did it out of power and strength within our community. And we need to get back to that. We need to know that it's our responsibility to help one another. I can't live your life for you, but I can help you in areas where I'm able to help you. So this pledge is dear to me because I didn't have someone pulling me along and telling me, you got to get better, you got to get healed, you got to rise up. I didn't have that when I was younger. I didn't have that even when I got older, up until I went to my church home where I'm at now, and I have wonderful pastors who encourage us all the time. But in the meantime, before that, I couldn't go in my community and find somebody who I could trust to talk to. So this pledge is important because we believe on this podcast that it takes a community, it takes a village, and we have to do this together. And the first thing we have to do is be honest. We got to be honest with ourselves about our hurts and our pains and our struggles. No more trying to be tough guys and tough girls. We got to be open and honest about the mess that we've endured. And it's okay to be emotional about it. It's okay to cry about it. It's okay to be angry about it. But then after we accept those feelings, then what are we going to do to fix it? And so that's the pledge. You're not alone, and we're here to help, and we're going to do this together, and we're going to find a way to fix ourselves and get healthy.
Yes. Thank you for that. And then my next question is what word would you give to someone out there who may resonate with your story, but they're in the process of trying to hide their pain?
First of all, I'm going to say, as much as we try to hide, we end up exposing. Hiding is really just a false security because you're showing it somewhere, somehow, that you're in pain. And someone who cares enough to notice will see it. And my next thing is, I love you. And there's somebody else that loves you. But until you reach out and admit that you are in pain and that you need some help, there's not much anybody can do until you are willing and ready to get healed. I encourage you to wrap your arms around yourself, look in the mirror and tell yourself, you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be loved. You deserve to progress into being the wonderful, beautiful person that God created you to be. And you shouldn't let anyone or anything, including yourself, stop that from happening. Healing takes work. So you have to really want better for yourself. And because of our pledge, you don't have to do it alone. So I encourage anybody, if you're struggling with something, find somebody that you trust. And if you don't have anyone that you feel you can trust, you can email us. We keep everything private. And then if you find that you want to really talk to somebody, we have resources for you. That is the sole purpose of what we're doing here. We want to be able to help those who have issues that they feel like they can't get help for. But there is somebody. And we're your sisters, your aunties and your uncles. we're here for you. You know, because we've been through it. That's why it's called Letters to a Survivor, because we're all survivors. And that includes you.
That includes everyone out here today. And so you actually gave a word with that encouragement today. So. Is there any other questions you have?
No, I think that was about it. I mean, it's been so much,
Right.
that's encompassed here. But I think it's been very eloquently discussed. And like you said, this is a platform, it's a resource. Use it. Don't be afraid.
Right.
Because that whole, like you said, that hiding pain, that's you lying to yourself. That's it. You're lying to yourself. And if you can't tell yourself the truth, then who owes that to you? Nobody.
Right.
So until enough is enough, until you really make that move, it's a continuous cycle. And I get it, because I think you alluded to this before, Kim, that it becomes normalized. It becomes your norm. And so you don't always see it, or you see it, but you learn how to push it back. You push it back and you hit tunnel vision. I'm good at that. Head down, boom, just work. Boom, just work. Just push. Everybody else is good. Your health is failing, but everybody else is good. Everybody else is good. Their schedules are in, and you juggling yours, but everybody else is good. And it's like, if you're not good, then the people that you love are not good. And those people, that line of people you have in your life, you got to be the head of it.
Yeah.
You have to be the head of it. And so that was my takeaway in a lot of ways this evening, including what I wanted to add to it. But there is nothing more selfish than not taking care of yourself.
Yes.
And it seems counterintuitive, but it is selfish to not take care of you. That's my word.
And to everyone out there, before we go to our spotlight and our Let's Go to Therapy segment, I just want to say, if you do need to reach out for support, for help, if you need somebody to talk to, if you just need somebody to be there, you can email us at openletterstoasurvivor@gmail.com. If you prefer to talk to just one of us, put our name in the subject line. You can put K-Love, Cassandra, or Lady Poet Speaks, and we will make sure that they get that email. Don't worry. I am the one who checks the email, so it's not just random people on the emails. So it will come to us, and we will be there to get you resources. So we just want everybody to know that, yes, we have survived these things, and this is why we do it. And I love the Dear Survivor from Cassandra, because it lets us know these letters are not only for us, but they're for you. This is advice that a lot of times that she reads that I've told myself, or I would have told my younger self. So that's why we do these letters. K-Love, thank you so much for just sharing your story, being transparent. Cassandra, thank you for being an amazing addition to our team. And we keep doing this for today. I will go to the motivational minute, but since he's not here today, I just want to just piggyback off of Cassandra. It's selfish not to take care of you. And thank you for the comments as well. But it's selfish not to take care of you, and we all are self healing. As K Love said, and I don't know if she's watching today. I actually had talked to somebody last week who her being there to hold me and just kissed me on my forehead when I cried and did all of that. It healed a part of me that I didn't know that I needed to be healed. Mm-hmm. So having that and just having that one person, you ain't got to talk to everybody, but having that non-judgmental person and having people in your life that say, look, I'll go with you. If you need me to sit back, no matter what I got to hear, it might be crazy. You might think it's crazy, but it ain't crazy to me because I see you now and I see that you survived it. Mm-hmm. And then I would like to also say as an encouraging word, stop hiding it. Because we are only as sick as our secrets. So if you don't you keep them secrets is going to continue to make you sick.
Yep.
So with that, if you guys want to add any more encouragement today before we go to the spotlight and let's go to therapy, I'll turn the floor over to you guys. But I just wanted to leave that. And I'm going to say it again for the people who didn't hear me. Like they say for the ones in the back, I'm going to say it again. We are only as sick as our secrets. So stop keeping secrets if you want to fully heal, because if you don't tell it, you're going to stay sick. And you owe yourself the best version of you.
Woo, that's a word right there.
Right.
That's a word right there.
You want to shout?
I'm trying to tell you.
I know. Cue the music.
Right. Play my organ right now.
Well, I thank God because I always pray for him to fill me up with what he needs me to say and what not what I want to say. So all glory and all praise go to him. And that's what we're here for, to give it to God, but also tell you, God made therapists. So it's okay to have God and the therapist too. On that note, let's go to therapy.
All right.
So, in our let's go to therapy, aren't you tired of being in a mental pain? Don't you want to heal? Yeah. All right. So then let's go to therapy together. Let's go contact Belinda Williams for all of your therapy needs. She can be reached at 216-538-6481, or you can email her at belinda@chawc.org. They serve our community and our people, specializing in trauma. Can you tell us about Mindologist? Is that it?
Yeah, so the Mindologist, Shamara Hutchins, she has around-the-clock therapy to fit your time and your needs whenever you need it. She can be found on all social media platforms at the Mindologist. She specializes in all kinds. She does child psychology, adult psychology. She does assessment. So whatever you feel like your need is, we got you. So contact the Mindologist or Belinda Williams, and I'll turn it back over. So
now for our spotlight, to inquire about how to get your business on our spotlight section, please email us to openletterstoasurvivor@gmail.com, and in the subject line put spotlight. And what we will do is we will spotlight your business, because we are into spotlighting all local businesses in the community. We want to uplift all of our people of color entrepreneurs in the community. You know, we have to start back taking care of our own and developing our businesses and doing better in business. So in order to do better in business, you got to have some people to cater to your business. So give us an email about your business so we can talk about it. And then we're going to need some sponsors. We would love to have your business as a sponsor. Got to pay them bills. So we need some sponsors. And then on top of that, your local business, you're going to give back to your community. And are you always helping people? And do you have resources to help the community get your business added to our up and coming project? Email us at openletterstoasurvivor.com and put in the subject matter, give back. And that will go towards our magazine that we're working on that'll be coming up.
And that magazine will be called The Survival Guide. So we're Open Letters to a Survivor. So now we want to do a publication of The Survival Guide for resources from everywhere. And I'm not just talking about local to Ohio where we are. I'm talking about if you partner with us and you're in a different state, then let us know. We'll be able to spotlight that. We want to be able to give back into our community. So I thank you for that, and I thank you for touching on all of that. And if you would like to be a sponsor, we do have we are looking for sponsors at the moment. You can email us again at openletterstoasurvivor@gmail.com and put sponsor in the subject line. Okay, and to my amazing team, thank you so much for being on today. Thank you so much. I'll be transparent for picking up for me last week when I was not feeling my best. So I just thank you for that. And to everyone watching today, we want you to heal authentically. And our motto is let's heal together. So let's continue to heal together. And of course, James in the background, thank you just for being an awesome engineer, for introducing us every week, for putting up with my foolishness. So I just want to appreciate that. And I just want to thank Cassandra for being an awesome added addition to our team. And to my sister K-Love, thank you for being so transparent today. We love everybody. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you have a great day, and do not hesitate to email us if you need to talk, whatever you need. We will finish up the series next week. We love you. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.